Hi, you guys. Happy Saturday to you. So, I just posted something that had to do with not opening the door of your life to the enemy by participating in something that you might consider to be innocent fun. And this is, if you follow me on Facebook, this is obviously not the first time that I have addressed this issue. And I do this every year around this time of year. I feel the need, especially around this time of year, to address this topic because I see scores and scores and scores of Christians partaking in activities that they classify as innocent fun for them, for their children, that if they could see with spiritual eyes, if they could see what is attached to even those things that they classify as innocent, the demonic spirits that are attached to those activities, those movies, things that seem innocent, those costumes, even activities that take place at churches, they would completely change their position on this issue. But unfortunately, most people do not see in the spirit realm. There are obviously people that do. We call them seers. My best friend is a seer. She sees in the spirit almost like you and I see in the natural. And she shared some things with me that she has seen over the years that's just like wild. It's wild, like demons attached to people, just all kinds of things. I could tell you some stories of things that she shared with me, and of course she could tell you even more stories of both the angelic and also the demonic realm. But I am not typically a seer, though I have seen some things in the spirit. I've seen angels in the spirit. I've seen dark figures in the spirit. I woke up one time out of a dead sleep. I was alone in the bed, and in a completely sound asleep, I startled awake, and I was laying on my side facing my bedroom door. I opened my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, this black, saturated black face came rushing at me, just like right up in my face, came probably an inch from my face. And of course, I immediately recognized that this was demonic. And I was so aggravated that this demon had interrupted my sleep that I decided, listen, I'm not dealing with you. I'm not letting you rouse me from sleep any more than you already have by using my words. So I dealt with it by I literally just rolled over and turned my back to it and went back to sleep, which was plenty enough to deal with it. We speak not only with our words, but we speak with body language. And so by my body language, I assure you, my body language spoke loud and clear to that demon that I wasn't afraid and I wasn't okay with it being in my house. And so anyway, but that's been a rare, that's what was a rare occasion for me of seeing, but I sense a lot of things. And but I wanted to share with you a couple of experiences, personal experiences that I have had, and I could give you more, but these are two that came to me that I felt like would make the point, would be the most poignant. So the first one is I was still living at home with my family. I believe I had graduated from high school. I was like 18 or 19 years old. Was still living with my family. And my dad, as a family, we were traveling around the country, evangelizing, like going from church to church, preaching revival services, which was an incredible time. I learned a lot about ministry in those years. And there was a church that we ministered at that after the service was over, we went to the pastor's house and had a time of fellowship, and he played a video for us. He played a video for us that was like an example of a type of outreach ministry. That's like an outreach ministry idea that he was working on, and he'd done one episode of it, and it was something where he had gone on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and he had intentionally planted Christians, had them stationed in different places. And so they went out with a camera crew, with a guy with a camera, and they began approaching random people and asking them various questions, and eventually would get around to asking questions of a spiritual nature, and the idea in mind. Now remember, the purpose of this was outreach. The idea in mind was they would go to random people, and then they would go to Christian people that were there intentionally, and the Christian people would give biblically sound answers to those spiritual questions. And then the plan was to then take those episodes that they were going to do on a regular basis and play them on TVs in bars. I guess the goal was eventually to get them like around the country. So that as somebody's sitting at a bar drinking, they're watching this, and there's some really crazy looking people. It's kind of entertaining, but then there's these plugs that are put in by Christians where they're preaching the gospel. It seemed like a pretty good idea. Well, this video, he gave us a copy. We didn't watch it at his house, but he gave us a copy of it, and to take home with us. And so we went home and watched it. And one of the random people that they spoke to, who just happened to be the most sane looking and sounding person on Bourbon Street that night. I mean, there were some people that looked really over the top crazy and they were talking out of their head, and you could tell they were under the influence of alcohol and maybe even drugs, and just loopy people. And but this one person came on. They came up on this person, and he looked normal. He looked normal, and he sounded intelligent, and he introduced himself as a practicing Satanist. And he put in a plug for the Satanist church, for Satanism, in his answers to the spiritual questions that they asked. And then, they went to somebody that was a Christian who gave a different answer and preached the gospel. And, so we didn't really think anything about that. But very soon after we watched that video, my entire family began to have symptoms of the flu. We were vomiting, we had diarrhea, we were sick, like really sick, like couldn't hardly get out of bed, sick, all of us. And my dad, who believes in supernatural healing, had for years been going around the country laying hands on people to be healed, and people getting healed. I mean, even me and my siblings would do that. We'd get in the prayer line with them and lay hands on people, and they'd get healed. And And so we believed in healing and we'd experienced supernatural healing. So there was a faith expectancy that he's going to pray for his family and we're going to get better. Except that we just didn't get better. And he just kept praying and doing everything that he knew to do, and nothing was changing. And so one day, and we just kept getting worse. We kept getting worse. We kept getting weaker in our bodies. And so one day, he, in a desperate frame of mind, he went to the Lord in prayer and he was like, I don't understand what's going on. Why is my family not getting healed? Is there something that's hindering? Is there something I'm missing? And he waited to hear from the Lord, and the Lord spoke to him and brought to his mind that video and pointed out to him the Satanist that was on that video, and that he needed to get that video out of our house. And so he told us what the Lord had spoken, and we all dragged ourselves out of bed as a family. We dragged ourselves out of bed, me and my 3 siblings and my mom. We all went outside with him to the outside garbage, and he pulled the tape. This was an actual VHS, by the way. He pulled the tape out of it and he threw it in the trash. And he prayed a prayer where he broke the power of the enemy that had gained access to us through that video, broke it off of us. And I'm telling you, within minutes, all of us began to get better. And before the day was over, we were significantly better. So, that's not just chance. That's not an overactive imagination. This video was not overtly demonic, except there was a Satanist on it who was given a platform, unintentionally given a platform. And because of that, the demons that operate in and through somebody like that had a legal right to attach themselves to that video. And then when we took it into our home, we unwittingly, but the enemy doesn't play fair. He doesn't care that you don't understand what you're doing. He's a legalist. If he has a legal right, he exploits it. So it didn't matter to him that we had unwittingly opened the door of our life and our home to him. The only thing he cared about was that we'd open the door by bringing that video into our home. And so when the devil did what the devil does when you let him in the door, if you let the devil in the door, the devil's going to do what the devil does. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So we experienced a season, a brief window of the impact of the work of the thief in our lives, in our physical body through sickness. Thankfully, we had a dad who was sensitive to the spirit and understood how things work in the spirit realm and was able to hear the Lord speak to him, something that in the natural maybe just didn't make any sense. He didn't reason it away. He acted in obedience, and we all got better. So that's the first story I wanted to tell you. The second one happened in my first marriage. I was newly married. This was back in 2001. So I was like 24. And me and my first husband had, we were young. We were very zealous to do the will of God. And there was an opportunity for us to get involved in some ministry in New Mexico. We were living in Mississippi, and there was an opportunity presented to us to that originally was going to be us helping another minister pastor a church in New Mexico. And all the plans were made for us to move there. And, my husband at the time had gotten a transfer on his job from Mississippi to Los Alamos, New Mexico. All of that was done. We rented an apartment, all of it. And then the person who was supposed to pastor the church, that we were going to go help them pastor, backed out. And so we made the decision that since we'd already got the ball rolling and we'd already made the plans and he'd already got the job transfer, well, we're not going to back out. We're just going to go ahead and go. I cannot tell you that we were certain or that we had heard from God that we were actually supposed to do that. So we went guns a-blazing, zeal in our heart to evangelize Los Alamos, New Mexico, and be involved in a church there with a group of people who were looking for a pastor. And what ended up happening is that in that area of the country, outside of the Bible Belt, there are a lot of people who practice witchcraft, and they do it openly. A lot of practicing Wiccans. And my husband, at the time, he went to do laundry at a laundromat, and he struck up a conversation with a man who introduced himself as a high priest in the Wiccan church. My ex-husband, I'll refer to him as my ex-husband. My ex-husband began to tell him about what we were doing, that we had moved there and we were Christians and we were going to be doing ministry. And anyway, within a couple of days of that conversation, I began to get sick. And again, it was like flu-like symptoms, and I was getting very weak, and again, I wasn't getting better, and we were praying and binding the enemy, and nothing would seem to work or put a dent in it. And I remember laying in bed one night and telling him, I said, I feel like Daniel in the lion's den. I said, I feel like I am surrounded on all sides by lions that are wanting to devour me. And anyway, later, my ex-husband was a seer also, like my friend. Maybe not quite as much as she is, but he would see in the spirit quite a bit. And one night, in the middle of the night, while I was still sick, he woke up out of a dead sleep, and he saw a black figure, like a saturated black, shadowy looking figure of a person, come into the room, walked around to my side of the bed, came around to my side of the bed. And when they noticed that he was awake, they took off running and left the house. And so he shared that with me. And then, so we became aware that we had become a target of witchcraft. That obviously there were some of the practicing witches and warlocks in that area, probably alerted by the man he'd had a conversation with, where he had informed him of what we were there to do. And because I know now that we were not supposed to be there, we were out of the will of God. We were in this war zone, outside of the will and purpose of God. God had not actually called us to go there, which created a level of vulnerability. And so, we prayed against that witchcraft. We bound that witchcraft, and I did begin to get better. But it was shortly after that we began to realize that we needed to get out of there, that God had not called us to be there, and we needed to get out. And so that's what we did. We moved back down south, and but anyway, that's a couple of personal testimonies of real stories that involve the demonic realm, the ability of the enemy to gain access to your life to do what he does, which is steal, kill, and destroy through open doors, through decisions on our part that open the door to him. And then of course the effect of witchcraft. To be clear, this dark being that my ex-husband saw in the room coming around to do something to me while I was sleeping, was not a demon. Now that may stretch some of you, but I promise you, it wasn't a demon. It was a person who practice witchcraft. And they have the ability to do what's called astral projecting, where they can project their spirit out of their body and they can travel in the spirit realm like a spirit being, and get into people's houses and things like that. And that's what this was. This was a person. This was a human spirit, not a demon spirit. It was the spirit of somebody who was obviously very deeply involved in witchcraft and had learned how to do that, how to project their spirit out of their body. So it's very real. It's very real. And so I want to urge you to rethink, if you are a Christian who has, maybe for your whole life, maybe your parents did it and now you're doing it with your children, but you have seen being involved in things to do with Halloween as just innocent fun because you're not a Satanist, or you're not a witch, or you're not promoting evil things, or you're not celebrating evil things. You're just giving candy to children. Cute children dressed in cute little costumes. It doesn't matter. The enemy doesn't care that you try to change the appearance of it. Halloween is a demonic day. It's a demonic celebration. And there's nothing that you as a Christian can do to redeem Halloween. Halloween cannot be redeemed. Halloween will never be redeemed. And so if you do something, even if it's going to a church function and dressing up as a Bible character, or just opening the door of your house to give candy to these cute little kids who come knocking on the door looking for candy, you dress up your child in cute little costumes and take them to a trunk or treat. There's nothing you can do, no matter how innocent you try to make it, and you try to superimpose innocence and light onto it. You cannot change the nature and the root of Halloween as a holiday on the calendar. Now, you can redeem the day. We're going to be putting up our Christmas tree Sunday. We are having a counter Halloween celebration by kicking off an early Christmas. We're going to have a lot of fun, but we are not partaking in anything that has to do with Halloween. And the reason is because I love my family. Because we love Jonathan. We love each other. We value our union. We value our health. And we understand that the enemy is calculated, and he is mean, and he is a legalist. And he will exploit an opportunity to bring an attack against you, against your children, against your health, against your marriage, against your finances. He will exploit an open door. And you can open the door by doing something as seemingly innocent as opening the front door of your house and giving candy to cute little children. He doesn't care that in your mind it's innocent fun. He just revels in the fact that every year at this time, Christians voluntarily en masse open the door of their lives and their homes and give him free access for some period of time to their family, to their children, to their marriage, to their finances, to their health. And trust me, he doesn't waste the opportunity. So I want to urge you to change your thinking on this. Do something different. Refuse to take part. Don't open the door to the devil. If you let the devil in the door, the devil's going to do what the devil does. And it doesn't take taking part in overt witchcraft and becoming a witch or celebrating Satan to open the door to the enemy. Okay. I love you guys. I love you. And I share these things with you in such a direct way because I care about your life. And I want to see Christians begin waking up to this. You know, I am convinced that if we saw in the Spirit and we knew things the way God knows things, that there would be many parents there would be many divorced couples, many parents, Christian parents of children who have strayed from the faith, who have gotten involved in evil things, who have gone down a dark path, that if the truth were known the way God knows it, that it could be traced back to, that the beginning of the demise of your marriage, or the beginning of your children going down a dark path, can be traced back to the moment when you made the decision to take part in something that isn't actually innocent fun, and you unwittingly open the door to the thief. I'm going to say it again. If you let the devil in the door, the devil will do what the devil does. So just don't open the door. And if you have opened the door, and this is speaking to you, and you feel a stirring in your heart, hi, baby. Hi, what you doing? Yeah? Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's Mama. That's a picture of Mama. Hold on just a second. Then close the door and evict him. Make a decision. Put your foot down and speak to those demonic spirits that you gave access to your house and your family and your children and your marriage and your finances and your physical person. Mama. Put your foot down and tell those demonic spirits that you are driving them out, that you don't give them permission to be in your life, in your home anymore. Mama. All right? Hi, baby. Want to say hi to everybody?
Baba.
Huh? Hi. Say hi.
Mama.
Yep. They're watching. Oh, you smell like you need a diaper change. Woo! He came with an aroma. All right. I love you guys. Please share this. Bye-bye.